personally, I am very curious that how did you manage to eliminate the barrier between the big screen and your audience, enabling such deep immersion into a character's inner world?
I think there are a number of techniques we employed. We filmed using IMAX 70mm film, which is the highest resolution imaging format ever devised. And my feeling is that on a screen this big, it allows you to immerse yourself in the world of the character. And the frame around the image disappears. And you can just be there in the world of the characters.
And also, we've seen so many familiar Hollywood faces. How did you guide them to better embody their roles, using any specific method?
Not any one specific method. As you say, some of these are actors I've worked with before. Cillian Murphy I've worked with for 20 years. I know him very well.
We imagine a future, and our imaginings horrify us.
And so there's an ease of communication. And he's not an actor who requires a lot of discussion on set. We do a lot of the discussion before we start shooting. But every actor is different. Matt Damon, who I work with on Interstellar.
Why? How about because this is the most important thing that ever happened in the history of the world?
It always comes very, very prepared, but also very willing to engage in conversations about how he can reinterpret a scene.
There's a chance when we push that button, we destroy the world. Chances are near zero.
And Emily Blunt, she's somebody I'd wanted to work with for a long time. I've been a big admirer of her work. And Kitty Oppenheimer is one of the most complicated characters in the film. Robert Downey Jr., we all know to be one of the great movie stars. I went to him and I said, I would like you to dive in and lose yourself in a character and in a sense remind the world of what an incredible actor you are, because he's one of the great actors of his generation.
The Russians have a bomb.
And he saw that, I think, as an opportunity to do something different. It's something he hadn't done in a while.
I think they've all delivered tremendous and exceptional performances for this film. It's actually a lot of homework that done before even you started shooting.
Yeah, I mean, you try and use the time in pre-production. Pre-production can be months long. We were having to build the town of Los Alamos. We were having to find locations. There's a lot of work to be done, and I get very busy. But I also try to find time within that to sit with the cast and really talk through all the possibilities, what things could be, and really explore things intellectually. We don't necessarily rehearse a lot. Sometimes we do a bit of a read-through, whatever, but really it's about discussion and conversation about what they can bring to their characters.
And I think also very importantly, because you wrote this script, and you wrote it in first-person perspective.
Well, as I embarked on writing the script, and I was adapting a 700-page book called American Prometheus by Kai Bird and Martin Schoen. It's an extraordinary piece of work, but I had to find a way to condense it. I had to find my way in, my point of view. And as I was starting to write the script, I was struggling to jump into his head.
Detonators charged. We're in a race against the Nazis.
And it occurred to me to try writing the script in the first person.
The Nazis have a bomb.
So instead of saying, Oppenheimer came in the room, Oppenheimer sat at the desk, I would say, I came into the room, I sat at the desk. And just doing that freed me to feel that I could sort of jump into his skin in a way.
You are known for your reluctance to rely on CGI effects. You actually recreated the Trinity test site and Los Alamos facility.
Well, we'd been to the real Los Alamos, and it's modern. There's a Starbucks, there's 13,000 people living there. So it's not practical to shoot there, so we had to build the exterior. And they were able to do that very quickly. At the same time of year and in about the same time that the real Manhattan Project people had to build their Los Alamos. So it really gave us a feeling of kinship with the history.
I did a bit of research yesterday. There's one particular question came to my site asking, did Christopher Nolan actually blow up a real nuclear bomb to create that mushroom cloud? Obviously you did not, right?
No, I didn't. No, they don't let you do that, thankfully. And we certainly did conduct some very large conventional explosions. huge explosions out in the desert when we were shooting Trinity, using a variety of different types of explosives for different looks. And there was a lot of experimentation, a lot of failure, but a lot of success.
Now I'd love to ask my favorite question, the film scores. I think it became a second language of this film.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear you say that it feels an inextricable part of the film, because that's very important to me. I don't like to view music as, you know, a sauce that's poured onto the movie after the fact. I felt like the solo violin would be a great starting point to represent Oppenheimer's neurotic internal state. Because I think the violin, with its fretless tuning, it's so subject to the emotional state of the player. And it can be very beautiful and romantic, or it can be very cold and horrifying and scary. When we were then editing the film, we would take his demos that he had done and use that to make the score, rather than what we call temping, which is where we take, you know, existing film scores and just to help us in the edit. I don't do that. I just use the music, the new music from the composer. And then every week we would screen the film together. He would see what we had done with what he had given us, and the next week he would grow the score some more. And so in that way, we tried to grow the score with the picture cut, with the sound effects, all at the same time.